What is up, guys? It's me, the ALEXX Prince, back at you once again. Yeah. You're gonna hear it all. Yeah, we don't get you as much, but I mean, you gotta understand, it's college, people. But enough about me rambling about how shitty my life is these days. Let's talk about the top 10 matches of February. March. It's March right now, but February was last month. Overall, February was a pretty solid month. Particularly, there's a lot of stuff involving like the Black History month. R-Truth becoming U.S. champion, Bobby Lashley becoming Intercontinental champion, even though that was January technically. And for the most part, getting guys like Cedric Alexander and Lio Rush standing out on their own was good. Velveteen Dream had a phenomenal NXT. Kofi Kingston, we'll talk about him in a bit. But yeah, for the most part, it was pretty much, that was the main thing. Also, there was a lot of hype for AEW. First of all, Kenny Omega officially signs in. The reason why I never brought him up in like, Kenny Omega has to sign AEW is because I knew they were gonna sign him regardless. They got Pentagon, Phoenix. They got there's a wrestler who's, I believe, a transgender wrestler. I forgot the name of that wrestler. I'll Google it later. But pretty much, yeah, that's been what this entire month has been. But enough about the moments. Let's talk about the matches and what exactly made my list for the best matches of February 2019. Kicking off the list is the Women's Tag Team Elimination Chamber match, the one where Sasha Banks and Bayley finally won. There's a theory that the Iconics were gonna win, but they hardly even made it. For the most part, I think a women's tag team division is it should have been after WrestleMania. I feel like there's way too many titles. They should have saved this after WrestleMania. Just have like a big tournament. That way we could develop all these brand new tag teams instead of just throwing a bunch of women together, which is pretty much what they did. But overall, I'm not gonna bash it because the match overall was actually pretty entertaining. There's a lot of big spots. Nia Jax, we give her a lot of shit, especially since the Royal Rumble. We had a bunch of other crappy ass moments with Nia Jax, but overall we don't give her credit. She actually could throw in some good matches. Like her physique and her kind of makes her stand out a lot, especially since she's related to The Rock, and we all know what happens when you're related to The Rock. Anyways, there was a good match, and it was a good moment for Bayley and Sasha to finally get a big moment because they could use a big moment. People are talking about how they should take on Io Shirai and Kairi Sane. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen at NXT New York. I would actually do that for NXT New York. Because honestly, what is Sasha Banks and Bayley going to do at the actual WrestleMania? What are they going to do? Fight being the Women's Battle Royal, which we can't even call the Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal because of what Fabulous Moolah did in the past. Honestly, why didn't they just name it after China? The China Memorial Battle Royal. What the hell is so wrong with naming it after China? Hell, she's gonna be in the Hall of Fame this year. Who the fuck cares? And technically it's DX, but whatever. Anyways, I should stop bashing the match. It was actually a lot of fun. Pretty good moments with all the wrestlers. They had like a bunch of big for the most part, it was just one big pile of just action. That was pretty much all it was, and I'm cool with that. Number 9 is Evo and SANADA versus Minoru, Suzuki, and Zack Sabre Jr. from New Japan Pro Wrestling's The New Beginning in Sapporo. I like Evo and SANADA. These guys are great. Minoru Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr. again, other great talents. I really am digging this storyline of how Los Ingobernables de Japón, I believe that's how they're called. They're just taking on big time. And I've bashed New Japan for tag team matches, but when you actually give a shit, when you have guys like Evo and SANADA, the Young Bucks, which are gone, or even Suzuki and Sabre Jr., they could throw in some good tag team matches. I feel like if New Japan is going to survive without Omega, Jericho, the Bucks, Cody, they have to rely on Tanahashi, Okada, and even Jay White to an extent. I feel like what they're gonna have to do is, one, they gotta push these guys to like higher mid card levels, or even get shots at the main title. Tomohiro Ishii, I don't know what they're doing with that guy, but that guy should have been at the top. If anything, he should have taken the belt off of Tanahashi, not Jay White. But honestly, if anything, Ishii should be a freaking IC champion by now. But I don't know what they're doing with that dude. That shows how much attention I paid to New Japan ever since they lost their true top guys. Not that Okada and Tanahashi aren't. It's just that, it's gonna take a while for them to pick up. Even NXT flopped when they lost majority of their roster. They had to rely on Nakamura and Joe to carry it. Let's see. Number 8 is Velveteen Dream versus Tyler Bate from WWE's Worlds Collide. Velveteen Dream had a very standout performance in this tournament. Exactly, he was actually the only good part about this entire tournament. I really didn't care about it. The reason why I didn't really care about this Worlds Collide, first of all, I didn't even know it was a thing. I just heard about it once and that was it. But for the most part, they should have done those WWE guys that never got a shot. They should have had like Tyler Breeze, Apollo Crews in there instead of just 205, UK, and the main NXT. They should have done all 4 teams. All 4. If they were going to go all the way, they should have gone all the way. That's pretty much what I'm saying. But anyways, the final 2 were Tyler Bate and Velveteen Dream. And this shows that Tyler Bate and Velveteen Dream had very underrated chemistry. I would never expected these two to collide and have an amazing match, but sure enough, that's exactly what happened. They had an incredible match, and I loved every second of it. Great match from both of these. I really give these guys props, so kudos for both of them. Thank goodness Velveteen Dream looked like a star, because he could have used a moment like this. Next up, number 7, Taiji Ishimori versus Ryusuke Taguchi from New Japan Pro Wrestling's The New Beginning in Osaka. I love the Super Junior weight division. I'm not sure what they're doing with Will Ospreay. We'll get to him later. But I'm really digging what they're doing with these talents. So yeah, there's that for the most part. But yeah, I really did dig this match out. Taiji Ishimori is probably one of my favorite Super Junior behind Will Ospreay if he's not in that division. And what was the other guy? Taiji Ishimori. Hiromu Saka. All these names sound familiar. I'm sorry, but pretty much I think he's part of the Los Invernales de Japón. I'm pretty sure he's part of them. But pretty much, yeah, I like those guys. And yeah, it's just another reason why the Super Junior division is not to be fucked with. Even the Cruiserweight division now is not as good as the Super Junior division. Despite how much it improved. Especially now, since I like Buddy Murphy, but he ain't done shit. At least Cedric Alexander, he had the underdog story of when he's going to lose it. Buddy Murphy, I feel like they haven't done much interest with him. And I don't blame him. I blame creative. Just because they don't do shit with these guys. But anyways, I'm glad that they're doing good with the Super Junior division. At least I could say that. Number 6, you'll probably be very shocked that this is this low. But number 6 is the SmackDown Gauntlet match from February 12th. Pretty much whoever wins the Gauntlet match becomes the final entrant in the Elimination Chamber. For the most part, this is all popular for one thing. Daniel Bryan being pinned by Kofi Kingston, and then Kofi Kingston goes on to beat, I believe it was Hardy, Joe, Styles, or around there. Pretty much it ends with Orton and Styles, and Orton takes the victory. I like how they also even played that Kofi Kingston got his ass kicked, and I'm finally glad that they're going to do something with Kofi Kingston. If anything, if they are going to give the WWE Championship to him, I'm all for it. I'm not even going to argue with that. That's one of those matches that I actually don't care who goes over, because I could see why they would keep it on Daniel Bryan, but also I could see why they would give it to Kofi Kingston. So it's one of those things that I'm excited for Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston to have this feud. I'm pretty bummed that Kevin Owens got the end of the end of the stick shit, whatever the hell. Honestly, what I would have done to book this properly, I would have done a fatal 4-way with everybody but then pretty much I would have the Elimination Chamber end with Kofi Kingston faking an injury, and then we have a fatal 4-way the next night. It's Styles, Orton, Hardy, and Joe. Hardy wins that, then they reunite the Hardy Boys. They have Daniel Bryan versus Jeff Hardy. The Hardys move on to fight the tag champs, and then Kofi and Bryan. That's how I would have booked it after, but I'm glad that this is the start of Kofi Kingston's return, because last time he was this good is when he was fighting Randy Orton in 2009, and I'm glad that he's back to being just as badass as he is now. So thank you, WWE, for finally giving Kofi Kingston the biggest opportunity of his life. Number 5, DIY and Adam Cole versus the Velveteen Dream, Aleister Black, and Ricochet from NXT's Halftime Heat. I should have watched this during the Super Bowl. I remember watching the Super Bowl, and then I watched Maroon 5. I was so disappointed with the whole SpongeBob crap that they did on us. They totally did us wrong. And I don't know, Adam Levine is just such a fucking bitch these days. Even in The Voice, they've talked about him not being funny. I know that he does it to like get entertainment going, but I'm pretty sure he's a bitch in real life too. But the point is, after a shitty Super Bowl game, people were talking about Halftime Heat. Even non-wrestling fans were talking about Halftime Heat. So I'm like, I gotta watch this, right? So then I go watch it. And holy shit, this was an amazing match. This was a classic ROH. When they had Punk, Bryan, Joe, Austin Aries. Like, this is like the new NXT 6. These 6 men were probably like the MVPs of NXT last year, so it made sense to put all of them in a 6-man tag team match, especially after that build up after NXT TakeOver Phoenix. After the show, they had that backstage segment with all 6 of them beating the crap out of each other. They put them in the Halftime Heat, and they just kicked ass. It was just Super Kick City after Super Kick City, and it was just all over the place. And I'm glad that Velveteen Dream got the victory. And I like how he dressed like a football player. It was pretty funny of them to do that. Ricochet and Aleister Black being awesome, and the fact that they're still playing the DIY, not good friends. I like that, so I'm pretty happy that they did that. So that was great of them to do. Next up on the list is number 4 is Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Jay White. Now Jay White, we've given a lot of shit for not being a great wrestler, but now he's improving, and now he's gonna be on top of it. He's fighting. He is now officially your top champion, the IWGP World Champion. I'm pretty sure it's going to lead to Okada taking it from him. Honestly, I would have him keep it until, I don't want to say till Wrestle Kingdom 14, but maybe that's probably the most logical thing to do, because they could use a Jay White, they could use a JBL push in the sense like, or not necessarily a JBL push, because at least Jay White wasn't from Jobber to Champion or Jinder Mahal kind of thing. He's more of they built him up and then they gave him the top belt. It's pretty shocking to say that he got the top belt, but he definitely deserved it, especially after those great matches with Okada. Put him on the mat. His standout performance was the G1 last year, and it made sense for Tanahashi to take the belt off him. I feel like, look, I like Hiroshi Tanahashi, but I feel like we've seen all the matches we could with this guy, and he's been one of the longest reigning champs in New Japan history. So I'm thankful that Jay White got a big opportunity, and I just love the story that they told with these guys. Number 3 is the Elimination Chamber match, the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match. So pretty much after Kofi Kingston replaced Mustafa Ali, I didn't even bring that up. I'm actually pretty sorry, but yeah. Even though Mustafa Ali didn't get a chance to be in this match, it's kind of made Kofi Kingston the standout. And I like how it started with Daniel Bryan, like, yeah, you guys boo the Authority, but yeah, you guys still boo the fact that I'm at the first entrant and this and that. Randy Orton was the last entrance, and I like that they actually got, normally when they put the Elimination Chamber together, they've gotten a lot lazier with it. But I'm glad that they put effort into this one. They actually put effort. It wasn't just 6 people just wrestling. They actually told the story, particularly with Kofi Kingston once again. He was the standout. I'm sorry, my notes fell and now I'm picking them up and I'm trying to look at you guys, because if I pause the video, that's it, it's over. So yeah, I like that. I like that they did what they did. Sorry. Pretty much Kofi Kingston was the third entrant that I believe he eliminated like most of the people, like Orton, Hardy, Joe. I think Styles, unless it was Orton who eliminated Styles. And that's also a good thing, that they're actually building up a mini feud between Styles and Orton. That's what I like about matches like this, when they have multiple men. That's what makes the Royal Rumble so special also, when they actually set up stuff for the future. Like, one of my favorite Royal Rumbles was Royal Rumble 2004. Even though we can't remember exactly who won that match, I like how it set up Taker and Kane. I like how it set up Goldberg and Lesnar, despite how shitty that match was. I like that it set up Foley and Evolution. So it did a great job at setting stuff up. But for the most part, that's what I like. And that's what made this Elimination Chamber match special. Because it set up Bryan and Kingston, it set up Joe and Hardy, and it set up Styles and Orton. They moved around the rivalries. That's what made it so great. I think Jeff Hardy is going to move on to tag team division, and Joe is, I don't know what the hell Joe's going to do. I'm pretty sure, hopefully this leads to John Cena and Samoa Joe this year. Finally, we need that match. The point is, I'm just really glad that they did what they did with this card. So, thank you. They did an amazing job with this chamber. One of my favorite chambers in a while, honestly. Honestly, I would put this in like the top 5 elimination chambers of all time. This was a really good one, and I really am glad that they got it right. Number 2 is Johnny Gargano and Velveteen Dream from a couple weeks ago, I believe. This was another great match. Pretty much, honestly, this is my favorite Johnny Gargano Velveteen Dream match. They've had other matches before, but this is probably the favorite one just because it was the one where Velveteen Dream finally got his big moment. Johnny Gargano, he just has great matches all the time. And I'm glad that they're actually going to set up something interesting with DIY. I'm pretty sure it's going to lead to them main eventing NXT TakeOver New York. Whatever they do, I'm curious now with what they do with this card. And I'm pretty sure Velveteen Dream is going to move on to Matt Riddle. But let's talk about this match. It was just a classic. It felt TakeOver worthy. Like, I would put this in an NXT TakeOver, any TakeOver card. It was just that damn good. It was just an amazing match from top to bottom. I just loved the match. It was incredible, and I like it. It was from NXT February 20th, and pretty much it showed you how great Velveteen Dream has been this month alone. I mean, he made 3 matches in his match with Tyler Bate, the halftime heat match, and this match. And I got that he actually earned this properly with the whole Worlds Collide tournament. It was a great thing. So, I like it. But number 1 is probably the most anticipated match of the month. No one's talking about it. From what I've seen, no one's really talking about this, but people should talk about this one. Will Ospreay versus Pac or Neville. I didn't like the interference. For some reason, indie matches love interfering. They just love throwing everybody there at once. I don't know why they do that. It's weird. But I'm glad that this was pretty much everything you expected. There was just backflip after backflip, just a bunch of flips and kicks. It was pretty much what you expected, but I'm also glad that they're better at selling. We thought Will Ospreay was going to get the victory, but eventually Pac got the victory, and I'm glad. Because 1, it hypes up AEW, and 2, this is redeveloping Neville or Pac. So I'm glad that the guy who didn't do so good in WWE is now doing better outside of WWE. You know what I'm saying? And Will Ospreay, Hell, why don't they do this? Why don't they do Will Ospreay versus Jay White? I would watch the hell out that match. So yeah, that's pretty much my list. Hope you guys enjoyed this list. It's Mimi, the ALE Double X Prince. March, let's see what matches they give us. I'm pretty sure for the most part it's going to be build up for the big shows like TakeOver New York, Super Card of Honor, or G1, yeah, Super Card of Honor, pretty much that. WrestleMania, pretty much they're just going to build up stuff. So I don't know how many classics we'll get this month, but whatever we get, let's just hope for the better. Anyways, it's Mimi, the ALE Double X Prince. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and until then, I'm out.